Hey, boys and girls, today we're going to be going over the different parts of a nonfiction book. So, we're going to start with the very beginning. Every, or should I say, most nonfiction books have what's called a table of contents. So, this tells you the different headings that are going to be inside your book and on what page you can find them on. Remember, readers, that when you're reading nonfiction books, you do not have to start on the first page. If you want to bounce around to different headings, you are more than welcome to do that. And the table of contents gives you that option. When you go further into your book, you will notice that many pages have what's called headings. So this heading right here is dolphins and sound. Now the heading kind of gives you a little sneak peek about what information you're going to learn about. So this heading is called dolphins and sound. And then the rest of the information underneath the heading tells you all about dolphins and sound. So it says dolphins are smart. Dolphins use sound to talk to each other. Dolphins also use sound to find food. I didn't know they use that to find food, so that's pretty cool. So keep in mind, headings are very important because they tell you what the rest of the page is going to be about. And you'll see here, sometimes headings can be found on the top of the page, and sometimes headings can be found on the bottom of the page. So we have to look around when we're reading nonfiction books to find that heading. So this heading says dolphin groups, and underneath it, it gives you information about the heading. Dolphins live in groups called pods. They live in pods to find food and keep each other safe. Makes sense. Another part of a nonfiction book that we've talked about is a diagram. So a diagram is something that labels parts of something. So if you look at this example here, we have a picture of a bat, and a diagram will label the wings, the ears, the claws, and so on and so forth. Diagrams can also be of like a tree. So here is a diagram of a tree, and it shows the different parts of the tree and how it works. And then also, many books have what's called a caption. So a caption is a little tiny words that go underneath photographs, and they tell you what the photograph is about. Nonfiction books can have a lot of stuff on one page, so we have to keep that in mind when we're reading. A lot of pages will have a heading, they'll have a photograph, and they'll have a caption. And it's important as readers that we read everything on the page because it lets us better understand the book that we're reading about. Take this page right here. There is a photograph and caption on the top and on the bottom. Another thing that a lot of nonfiction books have is maps. So here is a map of the 7 continents. And remember in social studies we talked about the compass rose, never eat soggy waffles, for north, east, south, and west. And again, there are many text features on this page. We have a map, we also have a heading, and the information underneath the heading, the paragraph. Here's another example of a map. This is a map of Antarctica. So we have our map, our compass rose, we even have a scale. And this page does not have a heading, but it has information about Antarctica underneath it. This is another very common thing in nonfiction books is called a fact box. So a fact box can either be kind of big like this one on page 11, or they can be kind of smaller like here on page 12. And they can say things like fun fact, did you know, wowzer. And these are fun fact boxes. Now, fun fact boxes sometimes have nothing to do what's written on the page around it. A fact box can just be a random fact that the author wanted to tell you about. So this fun fact says, do you know no one country is in control of Antarctica? In 1961, many countries signed an agreement called a treaty. It makes sure no wars happen in Antarctica so scientists can study there. So that's a pretty cool fun fact. It's also important that we read fun fact boxes because maybe it's not about what the page is, but it could still give you some cool information that you can learn. And then finally, at the end of our nonfiction books, Many of them have what's called glossaries. Now, glossaries are maybe challenging words or bolded words inside the book, and they give you the definition or what it means. So, for example, if you don't know what a predator is, you can go back to the glossary and it says an animal that hunts and eats other animals. So, if you're confused about a word in your book, maybe check out the glossary to see if it's there. All right, boys and girls, so these are the different parts of a non-fiction book. So keep that in mind when you're reading, that you should be reading all different parts of the pages and understand how all these parts help you understand your book better. Have fun reading.